The morning that everything happened, I got a phone call. I got a phone call from her dad. She was actually staying at her grandparents' at this time. And he said, "Have you talked to Cloey?" And no, I hadn't. And sometimes she would text me late at night or try to call me in the middle of the night. So I double checked my phone and she hadn't. But it was graduation time. So there was a lot of parties going on then. So she had been known to sneak out every once in a while. Maybe she was just at a friend's house or something. He said, "Well, she's not at my parents' house. She's missing. And there's notes." She wrote some notes. Well, it wasn't the first time she had done this. So I said, "Well, let me call work and, I'll be late and let me try to get a hold of her, and I'll call you back." And I tried to call her and no answer. And I started thinking more about what her dad said, and I called him back probably about 4 minutes later and asked him what kind of notes. And he said, "They're suicide notes, Taffy." And it's just, I had a sick feeling in my stomach. And I said, "Well, does she have her phone on her?" Because we had a tracker. And he said, "No, she doesn't have her phone on her." So that was a big red flag. And when I was talking to him, he said, "She's dead." Like he was driving and he came upon her grandpa. And she had shot herself at a closed down elementary school. And Grandpa had found her body on the steps. Depression and anxiety started when she was younger, in junior high, being bullied on social media or poked fun at. And even though that wasn't why she took her life later on in life, it started the depression. It traumatized her. It was something that did start the effects of her depression.
I think social media is a place where you can become somebody that you think that you are. And when your character gets distorted through social media, these kids just don't have any other outlet. Like, as far as like positive thinking or looking for support from parents or encouraging friends to help them through these situations, so they resort back to social media. And maybe it's things that impact them negatively. Like it just, social media can be good, but more times than not, it hurts them more than it helps them.
These phones are so important to these kids. I know that they bring a lot of bad and a lot of negativity into the world, but places like remedylive is somewhere they can contact, when they are, because these phones are a lifeline. They can contact somebody to help them, to talk them down from the ledge, to text when they're sad, if they don't have a friend that will listen. Maybe they're too embarrassed about their feelings or their thoughts. remedylive is a place that they can go and vent without judgment. And that's what these kids need, is no judgment when they're talking about their mental health. Mental health is hard to admit even to yourself, not alone, somebody else. I mean, you're in denial. You're trying to figure out what's wrong with you. You don't want to think that you're depressed or you're quote unquote crazy. You have anxiety. But the Get School tour was eye-opening. They're pulling the students and they're asking them, how have you ever felt this way? Have you ever thought this way? And I was overwhelmed with the amount of participation from the students, how involved and excited they seemed to actually be involved and participate. And I think it was eye-opening to them that they're not the only ones that feels like hurting themselves or feels depressed or maybe feels, like they want to end their lives at times. I mean, the numbers were overwhelming for me as a parent to see, 30% out of 600, it's over 100 students in that assembly, that the amount of kids that were participating and that admitted to struggling themselves definitely had an effect on me. And I know it had to have an effect on the students, that they weren't alone. When you're depressed or you're having an episode, I mean, your pain takes over. You can't think rational. You are thinking that you're going to make the world a better place by you being gone, because you're a burden to other people. You're, not making somebody proud. You just made somebody have a bad day, or you're just always causing problems. You're always upsetting the family. You're always the reason. That's how, I think that when you have depression, anxiety, anything going on in your head, everything is hypersensitive. You're hypersensitive to everything. If you fail a test, if you hurt somebody's feelings, if you disappoint somebody, and then you go into this episode, sometimes it lasts minutes, sometimes it lasts hours, sometimes it can last days, where you can't think beyond that and you just want to be gone. You just know that the world would be a better place without you.
I feel that Remedy Live is a place that can ultimately save someone's life that's struggling with mental health issues. It's a place where they can vent or talk to someone without being known that they have an issue. I think Remedy Live is ultimately a place that can save a person's life.